Welcome to the Sacred Emergence Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. This is a place where you'll be guided to living your most aligned life so that your truest, most radiant self can emerge. We'll be jamming on topics ranging from spirituality, entrepreneurship, to wellness and lifestyle design, and everything in between that can support you to grow, evolve, and shine, all the while not taking ourselves too seriously. So if you're ready to step into your leadership, break through limiting beliefs, own all of who you are, and expand in abundance, grab yourself your faith cup of tea and let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sacred Emergence. It's Michelle Wong here. And of course, I have another beautiful guest for you all today. I have with me Melissa Mejia, who is a holistic health coach. And I am so excited for you to all learn more about Melissa, her work, her story. Welcome to the show, Melissa.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I'm so over the moon.
I know. So Melissa and I met through our coach and our mentor, Melanie. I keep every time I have a guest on the show, and that's how we met through Melanie. I always I can't say her name. It's a Melanie and Layer, and she's amazing. And Melissa and I were in the mastermind together, the Calibrate Matrix mastermind. And Melissa's just a force to be reckoned with. And I love her work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your work.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm just so excited for our conversation today because I don't know if you know this, Melissa, but I've been in the wellness field for over 10 years. And so the work that you do, I just see it. It's so needed. And I'm just excited to dive in.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. I know I had no freaking idea. And I actually was watching, funny thing, I was watching something that we were a part of together, and you were in the business for 10 years. And I was 10 years? What?
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's funny because we're going to talk about body love, weight loss. And one of the things that I used to do was I help people get off the sugar roller coaster. And
I love it.
Yeah. And one of the things is because I was part of a wellness company, and a lot of people would use their system as a weight loss journey. And I not hate, but I would not sell as a weight loss. Even people would ask me hey, would this help me lose weight? I'm it can, but that's not what I sell.
Yes.
And so it was hard to not sell as weight loss because it's such a tagline, it's such a grabber for people.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I love your work and what you stand for.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means so much to me, Michelle. And honestly, yes, I'm sick of that crap. I'm tired and I'm done of us having to gravitate towards weight loss all the time. All the time. All the time, underline, bold it, towards selling better and selling ourselves as health coaches, as trainers, as nutritionists, and talking about leaning and talking about all these trigger words at the end of the day that really take away from what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing has been for me to even find myself through this journey. This is why I do what I do. And this is why I am in the business of doing this, because it changed my life for me to be able to find myself through this, that I want other women to also find themselves through this journey.
I love that so much. And I we're connected on social media, and I just love the photos that you share about just you're so you share your body, right? And you had a baby recently, and you're strong, your body is so strong and I can see it. And you're owning it, and it's vulnerable. But because of that, it's I'm pulled towards you because you're human, it's you're not, it's not aiming for perfection of this is body after baby. And I'm a size 2 and I got the abs.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. So big. And I do want to say as well, I've been in this industry for 10 years. As well. And I just began my business on my own as an entrepreneur about a year and a half ago. Honestly, it was June 3rd, a year and a half. So the half was June 3rd, a year and a half ago on my own. But the biggest thing that I have learned is that we got to just be real. And it was very scary, even to me, even when I was pregnant, I was like thinking a lot of like, how am I going to do this? Like, I'm pregnant and I'm teaching women wellness and I'm teaching them to be fitter when I don't even have this body. And I went through this time in my after pregnancy that I felt really, really, really kind of stuck because I was like, what am I going to do? Like, oh my gosh. And then I had a breakthrough that I was like, I don't have to be a certain size. I don't have to be a certain shape to teach women wellness. And I don't want to teach them this. I don't want to teach them they have to be smaller. I don't want to teach them that they have to restrict themselves. I don't have to teach them this. And I have, through this time, I have found myself so much. And I have found myself so much to the point that now I can help women to a higher scale and in a higher way. And that to me means everything, because we think a lot of times when it comes to weight loss that, or when we start to think that we want to lose weight, it's because like, oh, I just want to lose weight because I'm going to feel good then. But that's how it was for me for a really long time. Like ever since I was a little girl, that's how it was. It was me chasing that because I wanted to feel loved and I wanted to feel worth it and I wanted to feel all of these feelings, but I forgot that it was in me. I forgot that all of this has been through me the whole time. It hasn't never been any outside source. It's never been because of the weight loss, you know. And it's going into like even the story a little bit of what and why I do what I do and why I talk the way I talk and the why do I teach what I teach is because when I was little, I grew up I'm Colombian, so I am from Colombia, and I grew up in a Latina household. And I had family members tell me like, well, you're getting fat, you're getting pudgy, you're getting this. And I was 6, I was 7. They would look at me and I was always I was always a little bit chubbier. That's who I was. I developed a lot quicker than a lot of girls. And I got bullied so much because of it. Because I was always a little bit taller, because I just had breast, all of these things that made me, they weren't even what people saw. You know, what people saw was just like, oh, this girl it's chubby and she is just fat and she probably just eats all of this and all that. And they go into all of this and they bullied me and I got bullied for over a year and a half. And when I started my journey was after being bullied so much, because I started to lose weight and all of this, because that's when I began to restrict myself. And I was like, maybe when I do this, this is going to make them love me. If I do this, I'm going to be seen instead of being thrown like to the side with no friends, right? And being like made fun of and being at least liked, because I just wanted to be liked. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to have friends. I wanted to hang out with people.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of being made fun of. But that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. And it was so sad until I got smaller. Guess what happened? Friends happened.
That's so crazy, you know, like even like what you were saying about getting smaller and restricting ourselves. It's like I just had this image of putting women in boxes, right?
Yes.
It's like, let's put her in a box, let's put her in the paradigm that we want to shape her as.
Yep.
And why in the world do we as women want to be small?
Yep.
Why do we want to be restrained, restricted, where it's like our power is in our expansion?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. 1,000 times. Yes. And that was my biggest thing. And I sadly didn't come to learn this until 2-3 years ago. And it's still a battle. It's an onset battle, but I am here to help women see that expansion. And I want them to be more, like, instead of shrinking themselves to a weight, shrinking themselves to what they were before in the past, shrinking themselves to a certain number on the scale. I want them to then step into their power by owning their body, by owning themselves right now at this time in this body that
Mm-hmm.
has been through so much, and then you do the actions to take, and then guess what's going to happen? Weight loss is going to happen because you are working on your inner self first.
I just got chills. I love all of it. Because it's true. And oh my God, just like, oh, it's like our queendom, stepping into like just like recognizing the power we have in our own skin and the
Yes.
embodiment of it and seeing our worth exactly where we're at. And I love what you said, it's like not shrinking back to where, like, not the shrinkage, and I also love what you were saying about like it's still a journey for you, and I love that because it's not a perfection. It's not like I got here, I made it. It's like it's this constant journey. Then I think that as women work with you, they'll be comfortable in that.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I want to see, because it's like, oh, again, I gained the weight again, and I did this again, and it goes into a whole vicious cycle of
Mm-hmm.
shaming, of guilting, of restriction, of obsession. Like all of these things are not any way, shape, or form good for us, right? So all of these feelings of not being good enough and not being worthy right now, it's an issue, right? So what I'm here to do is I'm here to show women like, hey, I'm not perfect. Hey, I'm here to do this. But hey, also I go through stuff, but look at me now. Like, even though I still go through things, even though it doesn't matter the cellulite that I had a son 8 months ago. Like it took me a while. I'm not gonna lie. Like I looked at myself in the mirror the first time that I had him, right? The day right after I had him, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was about to take a shower for the first time, and I saw myself after pregnancy, and I just was like mouth wide open, and I was like, who is this woman? I
Mm,
was like, who are you and how are you going to teach women?
mm,
Like, look at your body. But I didn't stay in that cycle, and I didn't stay in that thought, because it's not about that. And I think this is where we really miss the point, that we feel like if we go on a wellness journey, if we go period on a weight loss journey, if you want to call it that, we're like, okay, we're going to reach that and that's it. And it doesn't happen that way, because our life, there's going to be so many events, so many experiences, so many phases in our life. They're all going to be very different, and they're going to shape us differently. And sadly, this goes a lot with our body, our weight. For example, the pandemic just happened,
mm,
COVID just happened. A lot of women gained weight. And sadly, people are taking advantage of this crap. And they're
mm.
like, hey, did you gain the COVID-15?
Are you serious? I have not seen.
I'm not kidding.
I unplugged from that type of stuff, but I did not. The COVID-15.
I'm not
Oh,
kidding.
that's
I'm
so
not
funny.
kidding. And we're forgetting that we just went through a pandemic, one, and then two, your body was so stressed out. There was just no way it wasn't going to gain weight, because it stresses out. That's one of the factors that it does. And it's a natural form, because your body wants to survive. And
Yeah.
we completely just take that out, and we put into the weight, and we put so much pressure in there that we forget so many other factors go into this.
Oh my God, that's so infuriating. And like I know like there's like even before, COVID, it's like the advertisements towards women and stuff. It's all about, that
Yes.
perfection, the beauty, like the perfect body and all that. And like you mentioning just like the COVID-15 weight gain, that's just like outrageous, because it
Yes.
makes women feel like, yeah, it's like they're not enough. And not even just women, men as well. Like, but like especially with women and like the psychology of it, because women will do like they'll invest
They'll
to,
do
yeah,
anything,
yeah,
anything, anything to be smaller.
yeah, to like, oh my God, that's so like heartbreaking. Actually, I'm so glad I didn't see those ads. I'm so
It's
pissed.
so sad. It's so sad. And I seen it. And there are women that I have been in it, they are in my field. So I see it online, and I'm just like, and I look at it, I don't say anything, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, you sell whatever you want to sell, but I'm just like, are you serious right now? We are still here. We are still in this time. Like, this is not okay. I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're still here.
Yeah, that's so
Why?
crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah. And oh my goodness. Like, I love what you said about like, like the survival piece of like when we're stressed, that's when our body will put on more weight. And it goes back to your work, right? Of like the body love of like,
Yes.
because when we do the inner work, when we have that self-acceptance, it's like there's nothing for our body to need to hold on to.
Exactly. So think about it. Like even me, like honestly, I have no idea what number on the scale I am. I have zero, zero. And every time, like a couple weeks ago, I got a call into with a doctor, and she was like, "What's your weight?" And I was like, "I have no idea." And she was like, "So you don't know your weight?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "I don't own a scale." And I was like, I don't want to go further into this because I know what I'm doing. But the whole gist of the thing is like, what do you mean? Like you're not into weight, like, like you're not
Yeah.
into the weight and you're not into the weight scale. And I'm like, no, sorry. That's not where my energy is gonna go. That's not where my my heart is gonna go to. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't put how much I love myself for a number. Like that just
Yeah.
doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that so much. Yeah. What would like women who, because I understand. There's the other part too, like of women who want to feel better in their clothes. Like they just want to fit better. They want to feel better. Like, what would you say around that? Because in the past when I worked with different women, I was like, I asked them like, why is weight loss such a huge thing for you? And a lot of times I just want to feel better, fit better in my clothes. Like I think there's a block sometimes of buying clothes your size if it's a higher number. And
Yes.
so, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious
Yes.
your approach.
So it's about like nature, nurture, right? So nature, so think about it. Like we're babies. Like my baby was born. He came out of me, right? And I saw him and I was like, you are perfect. You are so perfect. One day though, the environment, the things he's going to watch, the ads he's going to see, the people are going to say things to him. They're going to make him feel very small
Mm,
because of so many beliefs, so many things that people have gone through. And this is the problem with women. So with women, like think about it. You're a little girl, you're a baby, and you're like, you're so perfect. You're so amazing. I love you so much. Like say goo goo gaga. It's great. I love it. And we laugh and all the things until one day we stop being glorified because of it. And then all these experiences happen. And then they, all these, the experiences or the past experiences that you're family has had or people that have had, they then bring them to you.
mm,
And then we have this deep, I mean, like rooted, seated beliefs that we're like, wow, yeah, we're not good enough. And this is the same thing. Like I remember, and just listening, just by listening the way we talk to ourselves, just by
mm,
listening to the way our parents talk to themselves, and we think out loud all the time. So just think about it, or the conversations we were a part of when we were kids. So just think about it, even though we might not even consciously think about this, like we weren't paying attention but we were there, so we were going to listen subconsciously. All these things are coming in. So when my mom used to tell herself like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm a size 8 or I'm a size
mm,
10, that's in my mind.
mm,
But I remember she wasn't telling me this. I saw it.
mm,
I saw it and I heard it. And the same thing applies to with my grandmother. My grandmother was always a bigger woman. But she carried 10 children. But she
mm,
was just a bigger woman. And she was what we called big boned. Like
mm,
she was just a bigger woman, but she was really, really short.
mm,
And she was like, I'm a size 14. And I'm like, so what? But back then, of course, I was just like, I don't know what that means. And it just came into it just kept. But there was a lot of times that happens, and all these past experiences kind of start compounding. And as
mm,
they compound, they become beliefs that we have. And then they one day somehow we start to believe these things
mhm,
ourselves because we heard them so much through ads, through things, and we hear the same things over and over again because that's how propaganda is and how their beliefs have been. And then we're just like, oh, okay, that's my belief now. And that's what we believe. And this is the issue. We
Mm.
don't work on this. We have to work on this.
Oh, that is so good. And like, as you were sharing that, like a memory popped into my mind because like I'm like you and the rest of the women listening, like I've had my own, like my body journey. And I remember like when Titanic came out, like Kate Winslet, beautiful, right? Like even the
Yes.
clothes, very like, English and like, it was like royalty. And
Yes.
like, I was like, wow, she's so beautiful. And, there's Leonardo DiCaprio, like all of that. And then my mom, like she's very critical. And I was like, oh, she's just so fat in that movie.
There it is. There it is. So then you come to think of all the ways she was fat, and you look at yourself, you're like, oh wow, okay, so I never will amount to that because if I thought she was beautiful and
Right.
my mother sadly thought she was fat, then I'm fat to my mom.
Right. And then like as high school, right? So like from like that's such an impressionable age as our bodies are changing and like all of that. So that was a very distinct memory. And
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that with me because thank you for sharing this in here. Like, this is huge. And you even saying that, like, I actually have a program right now and it's called the Bite Full of Life. So that's
Mm.
my nutrition program. And we had 7 days of pre work. And I say this because when it comes to this, like when I started in my journey as a nutritionist, when I started really helping and becoming a practitioner, I always just looked at the food. And that was what I did. And I looked at the food and I was like, okay, what's going on? What's happening? This and this correlates to this and this correlates to that. But sadly, I never really looked at the mindset and I never really looked at the beliefs. I never really looked at the psychology of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when sometimes they wouldn't be getting it, and I put that in like big quotation marks, when they were getting it, I was like, what's happening? What's going on? Like, here is the information. You're not like, what's happening? What's going on? But I never questioned their beliefs. I never questioned why do they have these ways of food, of eating? Why do they have sometimes, let's say you don't eat past a certain time, there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it somewhere. There's what's going on. Is it your body telling you, or is it something that was on the outside? And you like think of all these things. And in that program, that's what we did. We went a lot into the pre-work of the
Oh,
psychology
I love that.
of everything. And as the program has started, all the ladies that are there, they're like, wow, this is not even slightly what I thought it was going to be, because
Mm.
you just think like, here, this is what you eat and this is what you get. But this is such a different time in this world that we can do this now, because we can. Why not? Let's do this. Let's love ourselves right now. So I've been working a lot into the psychology of it because I've done it myself. So I do this for me,
Mm.
and I know it works because I've done it, and I've healed a lot of wounds, especially since I was little. I let go of a lot of wounds that I had, and now I'm helping women see that through as well.
I love that so much. Yeah, it's like the inner work is so important, and to have someone like you guide women through that process, because like you're on your I just adore you. Like you're on your journey,
Thank
you're
you.
you're
Thank
doing
you.
the work, you're up leveling yourself and your relationship to your body. And I love that it starts with the inner work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is that we come to think we're like, oh my God, she is so far from me. And
Mm.
I'm honestly about one step ahead. Like, I am not that far from you. Like, yes, I've had a lot of experiences and I know what it is, but it's like, it feels like one step.
Mm.
It's a lot of work in between those steps. But the biggest thing is, again, really finding my self love and being able to, again, put it out there, because that was my biggest thing after pregnancy, was like, wow, okay, I am post baby, I gained 25 pounds, and that was like my biggest thing. And I remember the beginning stages of what I was doing and where I was going was really helping like new mamas really kind of work towards their wellness. And a lot of my propaganda, unfortunately, was towards weight loss. It was like, oh, look at me losing some weight. Look at me looking so good. I feel so good. I feel so energetic. And it really, now that I think about it, I haven't even thought about this. Wow. But now thinking about it, and the way I have shifted is that I am here to take up space, and I'm here to help other women take up space. And I refuse to make my weight something that they're like calibrating to.
Oh,
I
that
want
is so
them.
good. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want them to calibrate to my feelings towards myself, my confidence. I want them to feel that in themselves. So I want them to calibrate to that energy instead of the energy of the weight loss that I have lost. And
Mm,
for them to look at themselves in the mirror like I do, I want them to see what they're capable of, and I want them to see their strength and not calibrating to the number that I
mm.
lost.
That was just so powerful. Oh my God, Melissa. Oh my goodness. I love that, calibrating to like the body love that you have for yourself versus the number. Oh my goodness. That was like thumbs up
Thank you.
on that one. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So okay, so I mean, I get it. And I know that there are some women who are just, they're so disconnected with like, what does it mean to love my body? What does it mean to love myself? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you guide that?
Yeah. How do you start? Where do you start?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, so like when I do it, so this is a great question because it's so, 1 second. Let me just think about this real quick, girlfriend. Because this is such a good question. I knew it was coming, but then I had an answer and I don't like my answer. So I am revisiting my thoughts on what I want to answer. But the biggest thing for me is, and it has been, to work on my gratitude.
Mm,
Like working on my gratitude first for the body that I have now and for seeing it as it is.
mm,
And uh, and we feel like, oh my gosh, this has to be something that I have to pay for, or a lot of times that's what people want. But there's so many free resources out there. There is a free community. There is all of these things that we put out there, especially. I am not the only one. I'm not the only one that's looking for this, that wants this for other women. And there are so many free resources out there, but women feel a lot of times that they have to pay for something in order to do it. So for example, like a program that will do weight loss, because that's what we are key to, when we forget that we can just start at home. So we can start with like a mirror. We can start with ourselves, with our body. We can start by closing our eyes and just at least touching our body. I just at least feeling it. Like, how many times do we ever do that? We a lot of times just go and put lotion on and we're like, I'm done. And it's always in the same place, it's always in the same area, but we actually don't take our time with our body. We actually don't actually feel how it feels.
mm,
We just go through the motion. And this is how we can start to really, really tap into a little bit of this, a
mm,
little bit, because this is like the iceberg. It's really the
mm.
top, but this is where you can start.
Oh, I love that. And like, I just wanted to like honor the resistance that might come up when it's like, I don't want to do that. And
Yes.
I recognize that. And like, because I've been in that shoe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is years ago when this is like when I was on, like it was Mama Gina's program. It's all about women and pleasure, the divine feminine. And one of the things, we were in Miami Beach, like South Beach, and like we were to write our desires in the sand. And like, this is like years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And I wrote self-love on the
I
sand.
love that.
Yeah. And this is like way back. And I remember that night, it was something so magical, right? And I remember that night, I looked at my body in the mirror and like cellulite, everything. And like, maybe it was the environment, the atmosphere, just like that whole weekend. But I was like, oh my God, like I'm so gorgeous. Like my body is so
Yes.
beautiful. And
Yes.
that shifted, like just that
Yes.
moment. And so anyway, I thought I'd share that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. But yes, 1,000%. And that's the biggest thing too. Like for me, I can't remember the time that I began to love myself. And that's the hard part. The hard part is I can't remember actually that moment that it shifted for me. But what I do remember though is looking at myself in the mirror and being like, I like this instead of being and picking apart myself.
Mm,
Because for my journey, I didn't. This is also the biggest thing. And I think the biggest myth is that when we come to really find ourselves and love our body and work towards more of becoming more instead of shrinking and weight loss, it's that, oh my God, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm going to love myself and this is going to be great. And it's such an amazing journey and it's all flowers and it's all sunshine, and it's not true. And it's like a constant step by step and like step by step. I didn't just look at myself in the mirror and was like, yay. I was just like, okay, where do we start? And I started like with what I said, starting to be grateful. I have letters from myself
mm,
that I wrote post baby. And I thanked my body and I was like, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that you did this. I'm grateful that you created this. I'm grateful that I have you. I'm grateful. And I touch my skin and all of the things. And again, this is because as we were getting older, we were told not to do this. We were told that that was sexual instead of sensual
mm,
as women. We were told that we can't touch ourselves, right? That's just wrong, that it's wrong. But when we do it in our own way, we can find more of us in that space,
mm,
and to me it was a lot of that when I was little. Like I would, like, let's say for example, if I was like putting lotion on for longer or if I was doing anything, my mom would be like, what are you doing? And my
mm,
mom I come from a background of Catholics, so I'm a very big Catholic, and my family is. I unfortunately do not practice as much, not unfortunately, but God and I got our ways together. But I'm not practicing in that sense. But
mhm,
my mom used to be like, that God sees that as wrong. Like, what are
mm,
you doing? Like, all of this. So, of course, that's what I felt. I felt that that was so wrong in so many ways.
yeah,
And a lot of women, it doesn't mean that you have to be Catholic, but a lot of it has to be with religion and beliefs that your parents had and they told you not to do things.
yeah,
So that's why we find that so awkward when we start to like
yeah,
do it. So that's why I tell people, close your eyes,
mm,
just feel it, take a longer in the shower, anything, like just start little, smaller. And it's awkward, not gonna lie, super awkward at first. But the more you do it, then you'll be able to start looking at yourself in the mirror, like peeping at yourself, and you'll be like, well, look at that. Look at what I got.
I love that. Oh my goodness, I love that. You're like, I just love that.
Like you should see me in my mirror sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like no clothes on because I usually have no clothes on. So I like have no clothes on and I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Love it. Oh my gosh. I love
You
that
should,
so much.
no video because it's prohibited, but that's what I do. I like to, and I'm like, hey, you look good today.
I
Honestly, this
love
is
that.
for real my life.
That is like that. I adore that. Oh my God. I love that. And like, I just want to shout out to like you and like all the moms who like the fact that as women we can birth babies, like our body is so resilient, so powerful, so strong, and
Yes,
so magical. And I feel like we overlook that sometimes because we want to get back to where
yes.
we were. Like the women's body is incredible.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Like I'm very grateful. Like my baby was completely full term. He is so healthy, not was. He is so healthy. And my labor was 22 hours and
Oh,
my body endured that. Like
yeah.
my body did that. Like I came to a whole new level of love for my body when I gave birth. And I believe and I know that that was my rebirth.
Mm,
Like that I came in this world. So I know that you are a little bit into human design.
I'm so into
You're
human
like,
design.
yes, I know I said a little bit, but I was kidding. I
Oh,
meant like a
oh.
lot. I'm in like a lot of human design, and you're into astrology and all the things. But I am my profile. One of them is it the three or the yes? It's like the three is like the three lives.
Oh yes.
Is it
Oh,
like
the
the
sixes.
three?
The sixes.
The sixes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that's part of my profile. And I know that I have lived one of my like the 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived it until I gave birth. And then when I gave birth, I rebirthed it. Like I feel that in my soul. And talking about it right now, I got pure chills because I never looked at it this way. I never looked at it this way until talking to you.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Oh my goodness. That is like really powerful. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And like it doesn't, like with the six, it's not like a linear, it's 30, 30, 30. It's like whatever you define. It's your journey, right? So oh my God, I love that.
Yes. And I feel that. And I feel that. And I know that. And I know my mission and I see it. And like having him just give me completely new outlook for my body. And it has helped me bring so much more impact and so much more influence into the women in my world that I am seeing them move in ways that I didn't see them move before. And I'm so excited.
I love that so much. And I also wanted to like be sensitive and to like the women who like there's women, like I said previously, like celebrating women's body and that we can give birth. And I know that for some women they can't. So I wanted to honor that as well and just be like sensitive to that and just celebrate our body's ability to heal.
Yes. This is huge. And this is huge. And thank you for saying that, because I was going to mention that too, because I know not every single woman can do that. And I know sometimes we might feel like our body is going against us. And a lot of times we really hate our body. We really hate why it does. And we question it. We question it over and over and over again and over again. But it heals us in no other way. Like no other thing can ever heal us like our body heals us.
And like in like even the spiritual growth of it, you know, like it might not be physical, but in the spiritual, the healing of the journey of the soul.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And that's like, and the thing is like your body is just, honestly, it's just physical, right? But there is the growth that you have soul, like through your soul. There's the growth that you have through your mind. Like there's that inner growth and inner healing that you can achieve that is so much deeper than just through like just your skin.
Yeah. Oh, Melissa, I love this conversation so much. I'm
so excited.
Oh my goodness. I'm just like, I love, and your energy and just all of who you are, what you represent. I'm just so happy that our paths crossed and that we are friends.
Me too. Oh. So amazing.
How can people learn more about you?
So you can find me on Instagram and it's at I Am Strong with Melissa. And that is my magical place. I love being in the stories there. And I drop some inspiration every couple of days or so on my feed. I am mostly on Facebook. It's my jam. My jam is my Facebook and my Facebook group. And my Facebook group is called And She Is the Community. And it's for women of every shape, size, color, of every age. Like it's for all types of women. And it is such a beautiful community. And I have the most amazing women in my world. And I'm very, very grateful. And in my profile, it's just Melissa Mejia. And I do a lot of post in the sense of I just live my life and then I just post about it. That's what I do. And I'm just very open into my world. I'm very open on my thoughts. I'm very open on how I work on myself so I can help others and especially women see themselves.
Oh, so amazing. I'm going to share all of that in the show notes. And you also do amazing lives. Your Facebook lives are
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I still remember my first live that I ever did. And I was like shaking and saying like 1,000 times because when I'm very nervous, that's what used to be my tick. It was like. And I would freak the F out and I would like sweat like crazy. But I've gotten very good at it now. So
Yeah, I love
I'm
it.
better.
Oh my gosh, well, it's amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show and for sharing your journey and your wisdom with us. It's been so fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't even believe we had this conversation in such a short time. Like we went so deep. So thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, my pleasure. And for everyone who's listening, please share this if it resonated with you. Take an audio shot and like tag it in Insta stories, and we will definitely reshare it. And thank you all so much. Thank you, Melissa. And
Thank you.
Thank you. And tune in next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Join our free private Facebook group community, Sacred Emergence, to receive more connection, guidance, and support. And take part in our 5-day Inner Confidence Challenge to not only boost your confidence, but to help activate your inner leadership. Details in the show notes. Thank you for listening to the Sacred Emergence podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you in advance for sharing this with others who can benefit. Until next time.